What up, y'all? Thanks for always watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button. A lot of y'all leave comments, which are dope, and I appreciate that. Just go back, hit that like and subscribe so the algorithms can, send this out to everybody else that's into what we into. Peace. What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of What Words Are Worth. And today I got my brother, my real brother, here to hold it down with us today. He's an author. He's one of the funniest people I know. He's somebody I could talk to about anything. We could go from sports to music to writing to movies to anything that we want to talk about and kick it about and just talk about life. And anytime we just want to check in on each other, we usually call each other just to give each other updates on what's going on with the fam. Shout out to our sister Kim. We know she just had her 55th birthday. So we was out there partying and dancing for that. Maybe I'll put some footage in here with me dancing, getting a little two-step on with the fam. Why not, right? So today we're going to, have him on the show, and it's real dope to have him because he's an author. So, I know I'm one of the people that's creative in the family as well, but this gentleman is creative too. He actually has more books than I have published currently as well. So welcome to the stage, the one and only my brother from another, Jarel Jack. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing, man? Thanks for having me. It's been a long time coming, and definitely glad to be here, man. Glad to be on your platform. Definitely, man.
Yeah, me and him might have a platform. We got this idea we're gonna do probably in a few. This is first time getting on here, getting comfortable with it. So we'll probably have our own little thing soon too. You may know him from if you've seen me back in the days traveling, touring, and going around Madison, Wisconsin. I had a show, I came back, hotel room was a party. This guy right here. he, that's my brother, man. Like he always, never complains about nothing, getting where he fit in, and it's always dope having him, man. Mad supportive. So yeah, man, let's get to it, man. You're an author. It's exciting. I'm gonna show some book covers and books you have out, and kind of give us the background behind it and why you started writing these books. So he's a poet, but he also could write story, tell, and so on and so forth. So let's get into it. Here we go. So Genesis Help My Sentence. That is your first poetry book, correct?
Correct. It definitely was. I definitely jumped out there in the water and let the world hear, a little bit of my pain, frustration, and love, really.
Yeah, so why is it named Genesis Help My Sentence?
Actually, my daughter name is Genesis, and her inspiration on her being born while I was incarcerated really helped me get through my incarceration on a positive note and be meaningful for when I return back to society.
And those are the real sonogram and
definitely. Yeah, everything is definitely pure.
So what made you choose to put those on the cover? Because some people sometimes would like to hide from their triumphs and trials and tribulations and the way they triumph through it. So what made you put that on the cover?
I think for me it more was that a lot of people they really get lost in prison, and lost meaning family wise, friend wise, and sometimes they lose their self, and sometimes they lose their life. So it's like when you have an inspiration and something to live for, definitely strive and get back to that something that you love and really do your best to not end back up in that predicament again.
Now, I knew you for, writing, but also at one point I do remember like at some point here and there you would mention, you writing bars, you got some bars like, writing some lyrics and rapping. I've never necessarily heard you when we were younger, like you on a track or like you saying, yo, check out my verse on this song. But you always were saying you were writing like I got some bars. You wasn't shy of like saying,
exactly.
writing some bars, right?
Definitely.
what made you say, okay, these bars are worthy of, being heard, and kind of broke you out of that maybe being shy to let people know, hey, let me do this.
I think it more was, I always knew that I could rhyme, but I didn't think that I was a lyricist.
Okay.
So it was like,
Elaborate on that for me, man. Like, what do you think? Because you've written all these books, so now what's
yeah.
the
So
definition between
I
a
knew I
rhyme and
knew that
lyrics?
I could put words together and make them sound smooth and
Yeah.
funny, and they align together and everything. They rhyme, but a lyricist, like, the whole structure of the body of work that you're putting out, and it's really a gift. And I knew I had some part of that gift, but I didn't know how to open it up at the time.
Yeah, and then you started writing. What was like your first poem that made you feel like, okay, I could do this? What was that moment like when you felt like,
Oh man, it was basically working on this my first book, Genesis Help My Sentence, and it was just it seemed like the first poem I wrote 12 poems that night.
mm,
Like, it just, everything just was flowing, so you could kind of relate it to, I wrote an album.
yeah, yeah,
I wrote an album in one night, and and I just kept going, and more I just kept getting more excited by what I was putting down on paper. And I was like, oh, okay, this really makes sense, and this is relatable, definitely. And there's so many fathers and mothers that are
mhm.
in the system, and they're not able to be a part of their kids' life. At the time, they're away from their family, and to shine some light on a subject like that, on your feeling of when you get to touch them again, and take them to the store, and things that we take for granted. I wanted to bring that all you know to fruition with this book, basically.
And how hard was it to, I guess, maintain that focus to get it completed, right?
Oh,
Like being in there dealing with so many different um just issues in general. You got things to think about inside there, and then things to think about with people at home. And then some days you may not want to write. How about there's other people that may want to write a book, and they're asking you about a book, and all these different
definitely.
things to get this book completed. What were some of those, I guess, questions other people may have asked you while you were writing the book?
I mean, people was asking, are you really going to get it published? How are you going to get it published? What
Right.
is, who do you know? And, things of that sort. How much do it cost? And, but I was basically on some, I have a great support system, and mainly my brother, who really pushed me to pursue completing this book, and actually delving into spoken word and poetry, because, like I said, I always was into rhyming, but I just
Yeah.
didn't know my lane at the time because I was so young. But I, he brought it out of me, and I'm glad he did.
Yeah, I always thought the words were powerful, and I never heard you on a beat to say, "Yo, hop on the track," because I didn't know if you were,
Nah,
you know, I didn't know if that's, if you were doing that on the low. I was like, "Is he rapping?" I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But you weren't afraid to bring the words to me, so I always just felt like it was dope to have a forum and have something that you could kind of build towards. Your future of becoming older, right? We're getting older and
definitely.
trying to figure out what are some other things that can show people that we've changed and evolved to be a more mature version of ourselves? And
Yes.
you creating these books, I always felt was, um, just another branch to show people when you meet them. What's it
Yes.
like? What is it like introducing yourself as an author?
Yes. It's definitely a highlight for me because I love the title published author. So I definitely shoot that around.
Yeah.
Hey, this Mr. Jarel Jack, publisher, author,
Yeah.
it has a little ring to it. So, and it sounds accomplished.
Yeah.
And that's what I was looking for. And that's what I want people to see before they see the backstory. I want them to see someone who has accomplished something, not someone who has made mistakes, someone who has accomplished something. Because we all have made mistakes, whether big or small.
Yeah.
But what do you do after the mistake? So you're a published author, you have 4 bodies of work out, and you accomplish many things, and you're still accomplishing things. And that is really the motivation behind everything that I'm doing right now.
So delving into your other book, Small Steps in Life, explain the concept and the passion for doing this book.
Small Steps in Life. I created that on the notion of I had so many different stories in my head, and I wanted to write a book about each of them. So I said, let me just do a book of short stories. And I just wanted to show people that it takes small steps to get to where you want to be and need to be. Like, everything is not instantaneously. Everything is not, everything is not now.
Right.
Fast. Things will take time. So even though you're taking those small steps, you may have big gains behind those small steps. So it's worth it.
So like writing these books, and at the time you're writing it, you're building up your patience because you have to wait over time and do that. Are these books also like the first book comes out and then is your confidence? Are you gaining confidence now? Like,
man,
in writing?
Am I? Because it's like, it was kind of surreal. Like, oh man, you got a book. And I really didn't know what that meant. Like, oh, you got a book on Amazon, it's being sold around the world. And I was just like, right. But I was, like I said, incarcerated. So I didn't really see the effect as much. Like, oh man. But once I started talking to family and friends and letting them know, I'm on the phone with them, like, hey, I got a book out. And it was like, oh yeah, I bought it, and such and such bought it, and such and such. And I was like, wow, okay, this thing is it's kind of cool. And then once I got some reviews on it, that's when I got excited. I was like, oh, the reviews had me hyped. It was like, oh, this is a great read. Oh, we can't wait for the next one. I was like, oh, okay, I'm doing something now.
It puts pressure on you, right?
Yeah, because I was like, how could I top this? How could I top this? That's what I'm thinking. Like, wow.
What advice would you give to somebody in that same mindset? Because that same mindset comes across for me writing music and songs and albums, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure that same mindset comes across to anybody that's whether accomplished something or creative or did something that their family or friends may not have thought they would have accomplished, and they finally get to that mountaintop. Even people that win championship games, right? Like LeBron got 4 rings, and it's like still the hunt is there. So what's that like for you as far as like,
man, it's just like, I don't know, it's relative to, I'm gonna say, getting your first tattoo. For all those who has a tattoo, you get it and you go through the pain of getting it, but once you see the way it came out, you want another one and another one and another one. So that's how the books have been to me. Like, they've been my other babies. Like, I just want another one and another one to be born, because I just like the way I first felt with knowing that my name had published author in front of it. So that feeling, it just was great.
So then we also have The Rain That Stains.
Yeah.
Love, pain, education, unemployment, family, anxiety, mental health, freedom, recidivism. So explain the concept and the meaning behind this one here.
Yes, The Rain That Stains, that was actually my second book, and it's also a poetry book. And it was a lot of pressure to create, oh, especially behind Genesis Help My Sentence. But
Right.
I went on a different path, and I really hit some social issues that I know affect a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I wanted to really delve into those things and really let people know that you're not the only one going through this alone. That
Yeah.
we're here and we support you, and you know, always look for a brighter day, because a lot of people give up. Like, if a person is an introvert and really don't have communication skills, and they're thrown in a position where they're around strangers, how can they develop when they came in damaged already?
Mm.
So now you're like backed in a corner, you're trying to be by yourself, but now it's like pressure coming from all angles. So that could do a lot of things to people, and I saw it do a lot of things to people. And
Mm.
breaking is definitely one of the main things. So giving somebody hope, inspiration, and a different path to really go on, I think that was my main goal for that second book.
And then, also looking at the cover's, a little bit brighter,
Yes,
and then the Genesis Help My Sentence is a little, it's not darker per se, but it just, it's kind of
mhm,
like the beginning, right?
definitely.
So then you get The Rain That Stains is brighter, has some more colors on there and vibrancy. Was that like a choice that you made intentionally?
Yes, that was definitely a conscious choice of, I was definitely thinking about tears when I said the rain that stains.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was thinking about, people when they're crying and they tears hitting the earth or whatever, and they
Mm,
just stain the earth. So imagine walking down a block and you just see all these colorful puddles, but or drops. You don't know where they coming from, but these are people tears. So that's where I was going with it, with the rain that stains, and that's what the significance of it was.
and I've often heard, and you've probably often heard this too before, when it's raining, God is crying.
Definitely,
I've
definitely,
heard people say
definitely.
that as a way of appealing to their faith. So the rain that stains. Are you also saying, like, even though the rain drops and they may hit the cement and pavement, we've seen raindrops. At least most
Mhm.
of us have, depending on where
Yes,
you are and climate, and they leave that stain there, and then eventually it dries up, right?
definitely.
So is that kind of like the thought behind
See,
it?
but this was more impactful
Hmm.
because this rain doesn't disappear. It
Mm,
doesn't dry up. It stains. So you
mm.
see the color all the time. So it made its imprint and it made its mark. And that's the type of pain that's being shown right here with the rain that stains.
And then we're gonna go to your latest book, is I Accept My Truth. Um,
Yes.
the hands are there on the cover. So explain the thought process behind this latest book, I Accept My Truth.
Yes, I accept my truth. Okay. It deals with trauma.
Mhm.
So me being the man I am today, I have realized that I have suffered trauma as a child, and I realized that I'm not alone.
Yeah,
I'm not the only person who has suffered trauma. And there's different types of trauma also.
yeah,
Everything is not, abusive or things like that. Mental, it's mental trauma. It's a lot of things.
yeah.
But me realizing that I wanted to accept that I'm not perfect or my life wasn't perfect, and I don't want to portray that in any manner. So
Right.
I want to be really transparent with I accept my truth. I am who I am. I made mistakes. I've been through this, been through that, but I'm still going and still trying to grow and still correct things and still better myself. So that's where I accept my truth. I got my hands out, showing you that I'm not hiding my hands.
Right.
You know, so my hands are out. Nothing's here. No rocks in my hands. So that's the significance of the cover. And I just thought it was a conversation that people needed to have with their inner self, especially sometimes people go through a lot of stress, unknown stress, and a lot of depression and also anxiety. But you don't know where it's coming from. You could
Yeah.
think maybe it's coming from work, maybe it's coming from the kids, maybe it's coming from, but it's something deep, deep that you didn't address, that you buried years ago. And it peeks its little head out every now and then. And that's the thing that I wanted to really tackle, with that book.
Now, we know you from writing various topics, a lot of self reflection, being self aware, bring a lot of light to society, but you're also able to tap into the bag of color with me.
Yes.
So this is your coloring book. Explain the thought process behind this. What made you, after having all these other realms that you delved into, where did this come from?
Oh, that's all my daughter, man. My daughter's like, Daddy, I want to write my own book. And
Mm,
I was like, all right, Genesis, you can. And so she was like, well, I want to do a coloring book. So I was like, yeah. So she really, and she's like, matter of fact, why don't you do one and then I'm gonna do one? So I did mine. I'm waiting for hers to come out now, but
yeah,
she pushed me to do the coloring book because she was like, and then when she took it to school, oh my goodness, she was like a little. The teachers was in awe. They was like, what? Oh my God, your dad did this, and the
right.
kids. So she became very popular just from that coloring book, that title, and last name Jack, and it was just, it was good for her, good for me. So yeah, I mean, it definitely was a good choice of hers for me to go down that road with children's literature, as far as coloring books, activity books.
And then your writing style. So for me, your writing style, if I had to define it, is honest. It has intention to be creative. Like you're willing to like write and try a different style. You're willing to,
Mhm.
okay, do a metaphor here. Almost like you have that rapper's intent when writing as a poet. Um,
Yes.
so it's like, okay, I'm gonna get these bars off. I'm gonna talk about life and whatever kind of hits me. And you're always creative with ideas. And you've written short stories, you have short story books, everything. How do you define your writing style?
Um, to sum it up,
Yeah.
honest,
Mm.
honest. That's all I could say. Honest.
So when you're starting to begin the thought and you're starting to put it together, your first thing is don't hide anything, basically,
Uh,
right?
don't hide anything because you never know what words may affect people. What words people grab onto, what words help this person. So that's my main objective. I love to help people, with me knowing or not knowing that I'm helping them, and just being honest.
And who are some of your influences as a writer? So let's say, because we know some of this kind of transcribed from being bars that you're writing like lyrics, and then you kind of, you made that turn and transition in this arena. What were some of your influences as far as like lyricists or writers, whether it's authors, anything to kind of get you to where you are, what you got going on?
If I'm being honest, like one of my biggest influences and like in life, far as writers,
Mhm.
would be you, bro.
Oh man, thanks, man.
Definitely, definitely. Because ever since I can remember, you've been writing, you've been doing your thing, and then what really like took it overboard when you was in college, and the way you express yourself with your papers and rhyme form, that
Yeah.
was just genius. And I was like, wow. And to think of that, that was crazy. So I
Thanks, man.
definitely take my hats off to you. You always been a great inspiration in everything that I do. And you always been a good role model. Definitely.
Thanks, man. And vice versa, man. Your book's ahead of me now, y'all. I got two books. This guy, 5, 6 books going on.
Yeah,
So he took
definitely.
it and ran with it, and that's what I love to see. Anybody, if I can inspire, influence, or motivate, is that you take it and you run with it and do your thing, and you definitely have done that. So,
Definitely.
how are we writing today? As far as, are you writing anything down on paper, pen, or are you all strictly to the computer? Because some people still use journals. How about that?
Mhm. Actually, I still use pen and paper. And
Word.
from time to time, I may use the phone, but really, yeah, black and white. Yeah, definitely.
Is there a reason for that?
It
Because
just
everything has to get to the computer eventually.
yes, yeah, it all get transferred to the computer, but I don't know, it just relays better to me and it reads better. I
Then
could
what?
just
Okay.
yeah, I could just flow and I like the scribble out part. I like that. I think that's I think that is, something that, computers or laptops or phones don't have, that you use that much, that you could just cross out and
Yeah.
that type of thing, to see how messed up that paper looks with so many cross outs, and it's just the rough drafts. It just makes writing fun.
Yeah. I've been talking to Pooh from Little Brother.
Okay.
Um, he was saying how I think somebody one day had framed his lyrics and actually gave it to him in a frame. You know what I'm saying? And like to hang on
Wow.
the wall. And what I'm realizing is, because we're dealing with this digital era, right? So everybody's
Yeah.
going straight to computer and all this and so on and so forth. That, like you said, that crossing out in the
Yes.
things you're writing, that's actually the new art. So we can look
Yep.
at it and analyze it and be like, okay, Jarel, he had this thought first. But if you look here, he actually wrote joke, and then he changed it.
Exactly.
He said he read the riddle here. Man, that's interesting. I wonder what made him do that. Now we can look at the writings themselves, but with the computer, you can't do that.
Yep. You're right.
So it's interesting to see that the paper has its own,
Yeah,
art
it
to it.
has its own story, actually.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
So how long does it take you to write, let's say, a poem or a short story, or just in general? Because those are two different avenues. A poem, has its own timeline.
Definitely.
Short stories have their own timeline, and so on and so forth.
Usually, with the poems, I could really knock it out within that time period of a day or two.
Mm.
And I usually get inspired for some reason around 4 or 5 in the morning. I'll just wake up and I got these lines in my head, and I just find a paper and just write it down. And that's how it begins.
And then when you're out and about, you memorize the rhymes too. So
Oh
like, okay, okay.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. And then what is it like for you? Do you prefer to write at home, or you like to go out and take a walk, go to the store, be at the job? Like, when is
Oh,
the, atmosphere for
there's
you?
no particular location.
Okay.
I think it's just all with inspiration, really.
Right.
Whatever inspires me, like I could be going out to dinner and something may inspire me at that moment, maybe being on a bus, train, traffic, so it's just inspiration, and you could get inspiration from anywhere and any location. So that's the beauty of phones also. So you be somewhere, you don't have a pen and paper, you can still get the job done to remember what you had thought about. So
What's the weirdest place you've been and was like hit with a poem? Like, oh, I'm gonna write about that.
oh man, the weirdest place.
Yeah, like you was just somewhere and all of a
Yeah,
sudden
yeah.
you
So
saw something and said, oh, that's a poem. Or that's a story or whatever, you know.
I think on I think on the weight bench when I was incarcerated,
Yeah.
actually having weight on my chest and something just popped in my mind. Yeah, I think that had to be the weirdest. Yeah,
Mm.
definitely. Cause I got right up and I told the fellas, I was like, oh, I'll be back. I gotta write this down. Yeah,
Before I forget this.
I think that was the weirdest. Yeah,
That almost
spontaneous place. Yeah,
that almost sounds metaphorical itself. The
definitely.
weight on your chest, you know what I mean? You getting up.
Got you.
That's kind of
Yeah,
metaphoric in itself.
definitely.
So what about the revision process? You know, how do you know when you're finished and it's good and you're gonna like get people excited about it? Like, okay, when they read this is it right here, you know. Because I know when I was receiving the poems and reading the book, I was like, yo, I like this one right here. I like this one right here. And you weren't writing a lot. Some of the poems are nice, the nice size, and some you would elaborate longer, but it always felt just right. So how do you know it's just right? What's that revision
Yeah,
process for you?
I think like the attention span, you have to think of people's attention span.
Mm,
So if you able, I always say if you able to catch somebody within the first 4 to 5 seconds and you got something to say, you shouldn't hold them past 25, 30 seconds, especially on the phone,
right.
because you're dealing with people time. That's
Yep.
the one. And it's no melody behind it. That's two.
Yo, right.
That's two. So you have all these elements that's against you, but for you at the same time. So you just got to use them accordingly, and really don't play yourself and be writing the whole chapter. People ain't got that much time now. The world is definitely constantly evolving and spinning. So you have to really catch somebody attention in a gracious period of time and really be thankful that they chimed in.
And then involved with the storytelling. So you have the short storytelling, you know, that you've done in your books as well. How important is it for you to tell these stories? And because remember, you were doing the poetry, and then you was like, "Yo, this book I'm gonna switch up on them because I want to tell these short stories." And
Yeah.
that's when I saw you was really taking it serious. Because now we're getting like full paragraphs and stories. Like
Yeah.
you really was delving into like you're an author, like almost like you were trying to prove something. So for real, I don't know if it was though, because you might have been trying to prove something because you went into this a different realm on the writing. So
Definitely.
how important is the storytelling aspect to writing for you?
Yeah, I see. My thing is, my gift has always been like writing essays, book reports, things like that. Like I always loved that in school. So
Mm,
that was one of my favorites. So writing is a passion to me. So I always knew that I could write stories. I just wanted to write about something, and I wanted to give people different flavors of things that I was working on, and really see how they really perceive it.
yeah.
And I thought the short stories was good because me just coming out with a 180-page book about this one thing, I was like, maybe I could write about 6-7 things, 6-7 different stories
Right.
in a 120-page book, and really still have people like, oh man, this should have been longer, and really excited about hearing more about
Yeah.
this. Yeah, so that was the notion and the intention behind that.
And do you ever get like creative block? And if you do, how do you handle creative block? If
Oh
you do,
man,
if you ever feel that.
writer's block definitely. It will mess with your creativity at times. But one thing I always do,
Mm.
I just stop thinking about it. I
Right.
just stop thinking about it, and I just put my mind towards something else. I stop thinking about it maybe for a day or two or three, however long as it take until I get the inspiration again. Because I don't like to force things.
Yeah.
Because you can be forceful, like when you feeling pressure to keep up and keep these things coming out and going. Oh man, I need to hurry up and make another book, and
Right.
and that's when work get sloppy and really malnutritious, I would call it,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's not doing anything for anybody.
And then how about like finding your purpose? Do you feel like the books helped you find your purpose?
Definitely, I know that. I know that for a fact that it did. And I'm very grateful for that outlet. I'm very grateful that you really took the time to show me that there was another outlet and that I'll be good in it. And you gave me that self-esteem, that push, like, come on, bro, you could do it. And that's what I needed. And I was like, yeah, I could do it. And I've been
Yeah.
doing it ever since. So
Right. I think, one of the things I try to live by, and as much as I may write and do what I do, I still have internal tug of wars with myself to try and get
definitely.
myself across the finish line. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It ain't like just easy like that for me to just get across the finish line sometimes for myself. But I always try to like tell people like, man, just complete something.
Definitely.
It
That,
will inspire you to go a long way. Like, yo, just finish it. Don't worry about whatever external things you're thinking that
yeah.
finish it, and I'm sure finishing that first book made you go like, that's an example. Not only for us, but now our kids can see it, right? Like how you talking about Jenny.
Definitely.
So when she
Definitely.
gets older, she can go like, my dad got all these books out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm about to,
definitely. I mean,
yeah,
having something completed, because you know how many people I have spoke to with family members, friends, things like that, and they told me, "Oh man, I've been trying to write this book for the last 15 years, and
right.
I still got it in there, and I ain't never completed." And it's so much incomplete work around here that I don't know, that completing thing. It's a hard task
It's
to stay
hard. It's hard.
focused. That focus, yeah, it really is hard. But you
So
feel so good when
no.
you see your body of work, like, wow, yeah, I did this. I did it. Yeah. And
Yeah,
it just makes you want to do more.
I look at it too like this, Jarrell. Like us completing these things are not necessarily for maybe our fans and family, but like
Hmm.
there'll be somebody maybe in Spain that run across the Jarel Jack book in a library or somewhere out the blue.
Wow. Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah,
People run
that's
across
crazy.
You run across new music or new artists,
Hmm.
musically. You just be chilling and be like, yeah, I was in Target shopping. Something came on the radio, and so you having it out there gives that possibility to be found and heard somewhere. And
Definitely.
and that person might be the person that brings you across the finish line to a wider audience, or all of a sudden, next thing you know, now your stuff is in a commercial or they're using lines, quoting it on Stones. And
That
but
is
you have
correct.
you have to get it out there overall. So how are you staying motivated today or nowadays with
Oh
like
man. I
what's the
like
motivation?
I think I'm really more self-motivated, just thinking and reflecting on, the last 5 years been crazy. Like
Yeah.
it's just been like it's been a whole turnaround. Cause like what, almost 5 years ago I was incarcerated, and now I'm out and things are different out here in the world, but
Yeah.
things are still attainable.
Right.
And knowing that, it makes me want to work harder to achieve more. And help my daughter out and help her achieve her dreams in life, and just be thankful also.
So for anybody that's like just getting to know you, right? Because we're gonna have a lot of people checking this out and like watching it and saying, "Oh snap, I didn't even know," boom, boom, and so on and so forth. What would you recommend? Like, which book should they first delve into? And it doesn't have to be the first book; it could be whatever book you choose. Because even me, somebody might be like, "Yo, what's a song I should check out of yours?" And I might put them on something recent or like semi-recent.
Definitely.
Or maybe there's a particular poem or particular,
Definitely.
or what would you suggest people go check out to get to know you as an introduction? Or it could be 1, 2, 3, it could be all the books, whatever. It's
I
just
would think definitely Genesis helped my sentence.
okay.
And the poem What If, that poem is really popular, and I think that will give people an introduction to Jarel Jack.
What's any place where you want people to check out the books at? Where can people find the books?
Oh, definitely. You go to Jarel, Jarel Jack books at Amazon.com.
Okay. And then what's your social media handle if they want to contact you to come do a workshop or write?
Definitely. It's Jay on Facebook, and it's JJ1306 at Instagram.
Yeah, and and he's available to do like writing workshops, and he could bring his books and so on and so forth. So he's delving into all these different worlds and everything. Anything else you want to shout out to the people before we go?
Oh man,
Anything else you got coming up? Anything else you got coming up? Whatever,
Oh man, I just want everyone to stay tuned, because life is moving forward, and so am I. So I have some new projects coming up, and thank everybody for believing in me.
Yo, I like that slogan. Don't jack that slogan. You just said life is moving forward, and so am I. That should be a sign out. That's fire. See, he's natural with it, y'all. He's natural with it.
Definitely.
So shout out to everybody. Thanks for checking out the show. Once again, the link will be in the description to all his books. And like I always say, what are your words worth, y'all? Peace.
Right.
What up, y'all? Thanks for always watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button. A lot of y'all leave comments, which are dope, and I appreciate that. Just go back, hit that like and subscribe so the algorithms can, send this out to everybody else that's into what we into. Peace.